Week's episode. Today we're going to show you this new ops compose functionality. So if you're guessing, yes, it's similar to like a Docker compose. Um, there's a lot of applications today that take 4 or 5 different services to run. And so we want to support that same way that you might be using it in Docker or Kubernetes today. So we added this compose support. If we look at this compose YAML file, essentially it just takes a list of packages with names. I've gotten creative here and called one one instance my new server and the other one my client. We can just kind of look at what these are. So if I pop open server, it's pretty basic, same hello world example we always use. Just responds with, welcome. We look at the client, and so we spawn a server just because we assume that's going to be doing something, but we also do this thing called get Bob. And so what get Bob does is when a new request comes in, it actually goes off and queries the service, my server, grabs the response of that and then returns it, right? And what you'll notice here is that we're using DNS here, my server.service, rather than the IP. So this is super useful because now you don't have to remember IPs, and that my server.service you could even inject as a environment variable to where it's like you don't have to hard code anything at all. So this is like one of the defining features of service discovery, and this is what allows it to work. All right, so we have these two programs, client and server. But how do we actually build it? Well, good question. So say we go into client here. We can do. Let me see if I can just remember the command here. All right, so this command basically will build a package from our program. So we have the program client. We've got config and everything. We basically just name it my client, give it a version, and it just builds a new package. So that's great because what this allows us to do is to add config, namely environment variables and other things like that on the fly. And so now that we have that, you can do the same thing with the server. What we would do is show you that there's nothing running right now. But if we do ops compose up, what it does is it spawns 3 different instances, as you can see, and ignore the exit status. I'm just kind of playing around. But so it spun them all up, and we can confirm that. So now we have 3 instances running. And if you notice, versus what you might be doing today with ops, you might have like a 10.0 address. You can see that these all have different IP addresses, right? So that's great. Let's go ahead and just see what they respond with. All right, so this one, worked fine. 1.81 and 1.67, that works fine. We can even look at the DNS server. That's actually not something that you query. But what you can do is pull out dig, and you can do something like my server, well, dig at 192.168.180, my server.service. Oh, if I can type. And you can see that we have DNS entries now for these instances. And so that way, all of the unikernels can talk to each other just by using the DNS versus the IP address. And then, once you're done messing around with it, you can just do a ops compose down, and it kills them. And it's that quick, that fast. Keep in mind these things are not that big at all. These aren't So 20 megs was the entire disk image. These aren't running Linux. This isn't running Docker. These are just unikernels made out of 3 different applications. So really, really easy to test your multi-service applications and orchestration in a dev environment. Some people ask, well, don't you need Kubernetes and prod? The answer is no, because again, we deploy these as virtual machines, and so a lot of the work that Kubernetes does for Docker, you don't need when you're dealing with VMs, because Amazon and Google and Azure, they take care of that for you. So this composition feature, I don't really see being a production feature. It's more of a development feature. But excited to see what you guys do with it. And before we go, I guess I should show you how to enable this. So you do need to turn it on with a build flag, because it's still in a in kind of feature development. But if you enable this ops d flag, you'll be able to use it. So till next time, we'll chat again.